All right, hey everyone. I think we are live now. Yep, it looks like we're live. Okay, cool. Let's go and get my stream open. Sorry, bear with you for 1 second. Okay, cool. Okay, let's full screen it now that I know how to do it. Thank you, Fadi. Anyways, okay, we're live here. We're gonna do the second last episode of the turn-based streams. I am away this week. I'm not where I usually am. I didn't think I would have time for this, but got a little free time today, and I kind of wanted to squeeze in one more stream here with just me talking, and then the last stream will hopefully be like a debrief of all the games with some of the other players, so we'll get some of their perspectives. And you can hear someone else other than me, which I think will be nice. And I'm also curious to hear what they have to say, so that'll be really good. But anyways, yeah, let's get into it today. I will try to keep this one short. I know I said that last time and didn't. But this time there is another stream. Halai is doing a stream starting in an hour for I think the Europe Division TMTL games. So I want to kind of finish that before that one starts. But also there isn't a whole lot to talk about in these games anymore. It's more just kind of reflecting on or like seeing the final result, reflecting on what's happened and what I could have done differently or stuff like that. But yeah, the games are wrapping up. So we have two games finished and two that are in the last round just about over. The first game that finished and the game I'll start with today is this Fire and Ice game. So the game I've started with every stream. And as you can see, B-Ball Race won. So B-Ball Race's Architects pulled off the win. Actually, a really nice Architects game. So he got three towns. He got second on network because both myself and Keslu got cut off. So he got a super easy second on network with only 11 structures. He scored what, like uh 15 cult points, which is pretty good against Orin and Ice Maidens. He went for the early Priest to cults, early Tukey Town, and kind of got a lot of cult points from that, and then scored just enough in game to get it done here. Um, yeah, like it was a really kind of it was a cool Architects game. I kind of it was a plan I kind of thought might happen, like Architects going for three towns like this. Originally bridging down to let me get the hex indexes on. Originally bridging down to G5 and then later moving that bridge to G8 to F6 or to like E2 F3 and kind of getting three towns this way. It's the combination of cutting off Orin while also kind of getting good territory for yourself, and it works super well for him. So a really cool game by him. We have Halai's Ice Maidens who. Oh no, Keslu's Orin came in second. Oh, it's so close between the three of us. Really between everyone, it's super close this game. Like a 5 point spread from first to fourth. But second, third, and fourth are just incredibly close. So Keslu's Orin got cut off, but still managed to just squeak out a second place here. 1 point ahead of Halai's Ice Maidens and 1 point ahead of my Nomads for last. Ah. Honestly, I didn't think I was in a great position for a lot of this game, so I'm not surprised. And I think I actually had quite a good round, like 5 and 6, to salvage a pretty good score in the end. I mentioned last stream I went for Sanctuary Air 1, then Temple Water 1, like rounds 4 and 5, built a bunch of TPs, and then Advanced Dig for round 6, and then I just kind of finished that off since then. Got the 11 point town, so got a high scoring town. Ended up going Temple for Fire 2 just to finish this town. Like, it's a bit awkward. I would have rather have taken Air 3, I guess, or maybe Earth 3. But the way the math worked out, it was like I needed Fire 2 in order to take the highest scoring town left, the 11 point town, and still afford to be able to build the last trading post from that was freed up by the temple. And that was really important to me because I have water 1, I have air 1, and I'm on the TP tile. So it's a 6 point trading post. Like I really wanted to get that out. So yeah, it's an awkward Fire 2, like no cult points. The resource I got from the cults did nothing for me, but gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. I also could have built a dwelling on A9, but that's three extra resources. I don't have Earth 1, so like it wasn't really worth it to do that. There was also no difference in network. Like I was always beating Ornn on network even without that dwelling. So like Fire 2 made sense for me. It was just like a weird move, but yeah, it was almost enough. So close. I don't know. I think I kind of reflected on this game a bit last time, saying like Nomads and Fire and Ice were really interesting to me. Something I hadn't played too much. Kind of want more practice trying them in Fire and Ice because you have this really awkward connection battle. You're not very central with your territory, but you do have really good expansion territory. So like, yeah, for myself for this game, I don't know what I could have done differently aside from like of course auctioning differently, which yeah, I definitely think I undervalued Ice Maidens and Orin in the auction, but particularly Ice Maidens, I think should have been lower. But like with the deal I got in the auction, I don't know. I maybe could have I either could have fought harder to secure connection on E6, but then I probably don't get digs advanced, and I couldn't get this third town. I couldn't afford that, so it wasn't like I could connect and get three towns here. At least not with the economy I got in the early game. Like maybe I could have built it better, but I feel like I played pretty economically early on. Um, yeah, the other option I think I mentioned last stream was just like committing to playing tall and not caring about connection whatsoever. Which I mean, maybe could have worked here. Like I think that's a cool plan for nomads in this map in general. Like I'm intrigued to try that more. At the same time, I mean, getting B5 made sure Orin didn't connect here once they lost F3, so that is 6 points on network. Shift VP was in the game here, and so shipping was good for scoring. And also let me get like another hex on D1. Like it lets you get natural yellows pretty well in this map if you're not going stronghold, which like stronghold here didn't really make sense for me with no big building scroll in the game and no early big building round. The big building rounds are round 4 and 5 here. So yeah, I'm not sure. Other than just like having nomads lower in the auction, which I think I should have in hindsight, but I think I played pretty reasonably all in all for this game. Just didn't get it to work out kind of thing. Um, yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot more for me to talk about this game because like last time in the stream we were in round six, like we were near the end. It was pretty clear how things were going. Like it wasn't clear what the end result was going to be. It wasn't clear it was like this close, but my plan was super straightforward, and everyone else had like a fairly straightforward plan at that point. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna move on to the next game here. Um, there's more to talk about in the other games, so let's try to make sure we keep the stream shortish. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I have this ready to go. My other Nomads game on base map, and as you can see here, Felipe pulled off the win in this game. So Felipe was dwarves, scoring 150 in the end. My Nomads were 4 points back, followed by Keslu's halflings, and then B-Ball Race's giants. This game not quite as close as the first game, but pretty close between myself and Felipe, at least for the win. Um, and this is this is definitely my worst played game of the bunch. I do wonder if I had played this game better, I maybe could have either beaten Felipe or been really close to him here. I don't know. But I had mentioned last stream a couple of the mistakes I had made, so I don't think I'll go over them again. Um, but I do know I would have had at least a couple extra workers, like resources, and I ended up taking a big like 4 for 3 leech or something like that, or was it 5 for 4? I forget, but I took some big leech in round 5 to kind of facilitate my game here. And at the very least, if I played optimally in the earlier rounds, I feel like I wouldn't have needed that leech, so that would have been a few extra points. But it's hard to see the other snowball effects from that. Anyways, let's kind of get into what this game looks like. I ended up winning network here, so I had gone stronghold round 5, which I think I had done last stream. I'd already done. I kind of forget. It's a bit of a blur to me right now. But anyways, I did a shipping spree round 3. Round 4 built more dwellings. These are both dwelling grounds. Round 5 was a big building round, and I opted to go stronghold over the sanctuary, and I could have forced out the sanctuary and taken air one with that, but I decided not to. I thought that was going to hurt my network and like ability to do the second town in round 6. And so instead of that, I did like the town. I got the 11-point town, so another high scoring town. I did win network here, so I had 15 structures. Everyone else had 14, so it's a really important network win. Like that one extra structure is like a big swing in points basically here. I also have Earth 1, so that's 2 points in the dwelling, but it's also what 9 points. Like if I had 14 structures, we'd all have 9 points for network. We'd all be tied. But with me having 15, I have 18 and they all have 6. So it's basically a 12-point swing on each player, getting that last structure out for me. So definitely worth it to get that structure out here and to go for the town instead of the sanctuary in hindsight. I was able to win fire, gets second on Earth and third on water, so like some cult points, 14 cult points. Not nearly as many as halflings or dwarves here. Actually, it's similar to dwarves. It's the same as dwarves, but Keselu had a lot of cult points, so he had 24 cult points as halflings. But I had still a decent chunk on cults. I was on a pass scroll for round six, which was really big. I got on the TP tile, and even though it was a temple round, like I didn't build any temples round six, but I scored 8 points from the pass and the town, so I did score quite a bit in round six, even without hitting the track at all. And yeah, I still had a really solid game. Like I think even though I didn't play this game optimally, like I think it was a pretty robust game plan. Like I didn't think my strategy here was always really good of like just planning for a shipping spree in round three and really like building up towards that, starting with the early priest to earth, going double temple round one so I can produce priests and get income going for round three and just go crazy with shipping then, hit ship BP, get all my dwellings out then. Like I think that was a really robust game plan here for Nomads. Just didn't quite execute it to a level that I need to win at this level, basically. So looking at everyone else's game quickly, I thought Felipe was kind of in the best position for a while this game, and maybe in hindsight I was actually closer to him than I thought I was, but I felt like Dwarves were in a good spot. Like he had a really good opening where he got what did he get? Was it double dig round one or I can't remember. These games are all kind of a blur to me right now. I guess I'm I'm a bit in vacation mode, so it's my mind is maybe as sharp as it would be. But yeah, I remember Felipe had a really good start, and he was able to win the battle for G2 here. I'll turn indexes on again. And I think that was really big for dwarves. Like Felipe getting G2 means he got natural grays in G1 and I3. And even though I cut him off on F2 to F1, like that's not such a big deal for dwarves. It's really G1 and I3 that are the two important hexes for them. And so one thing about my double temple strategy in round one is that it let dwarves get G2, which um, although I didn't really need G2 for my game, like it was really good for their game. So I think there is like a justification to to maybe for me opening with temple and single dig on G2 instead of going double temple. Like I did have the option to single dig G2 with my first action, chose not to. So looking at the result here, like maybe I should have done that, but again, I also think I didn't play optimally, and I think if I did, it's super close between us. So I think the strategy is fine, like letting dwarves have G2 here. Yeah, so Felipe ended up getting digs advanced at the end. Like he had a big round six. He got his digs advanced. He is not a pass tile, but he was able to do a lot, like Temple Air 1, which let him win air, like barely over halfling, so that's super efficient for him. He couldn't quite afford to do another Temple for Water 3 or something like that to snatch water, but yeah, with digs advanced, with digging and building dwellings, he got the second town. Like he scored just enough here to kind of get over the hump. Other games, so Halflings, Keselu was able to get a third town, which I didn't see coming like until I think late round five or round six when he started to build around here. Even with getting like losing the town space here to nomads and dwarves, like it's pretty cool to see halflings have the economy to get that third town. He was really just one structure short, so he has like one dwelling left on his board, which is so sad. If Keslu gets that dwelling down, he wins. So I don't know how close he was to it. I think he was a bit off still. He still needed a third ship advance, which he got like the ship town here to do that. And so I like he ended up passing with one coin left, and he had an extra worker, but he had to use that worker as a coin for this town, or had to use the priest for a coin, something like that. So I think no matter what, he was always a couple of resources off. But if halflings could have gotten enough and built an A7, like that would have been a really sweet halflings game. It would have been a monster game, like 15 structures, three towns, 24 cult points. That would have been definitely enough for the win. But yeah, he fell just short in the end. And then Giants, I think Giants are always kind of squeezed here in the Northwest, which really hurt them in the end, like being sandwiched with Nomads beating them to E3 and Dwarves getting G2. Like I think one of the downsides to Giants starting on D4 and D7 in this matchup was that they're kind of limited for space. Of course, they like I talked early like in an early stream about Giants going double center like D4 and G2. And if they do that, the connection is like risky. It's in peril, and they might lose D7. Like, there's definitely trade-offs to both sides. But this going D4 and D7 like always kind of felt a bit limited to me, and I think you can see that play out here. That being said, like he still got 14 structures, and it involved I think two 6 worker digs. Like I definitely won. Like he definitely did a 6 worker dig for this town. Yeah, and he did a 6 worker dig on C4. So yeah, people raised like sunken 12 workers to digging in the last round, which I think was the right move. I mean, tying even to second for network for him is important here. It helps him town. Like it makes a lot of sense. It's just like it's a bit painful to have to do as Giants. Like I think ideally you'd like to be able to advance dig and then dig the hexes just to score the extra points, but like Giants could not quite find the economy for that here. And I don't think B-Ball Race ever had the means to find the economy for that this game. I think it was always just a limitation of Giants here. They also like because Giants were stuck to the north east here, like this part of the map, they also were really limited for leech. Like they had great leech early in the game in this center leech triangle with E6 and E7. But then after that, like everyone else was building in the south, a bit in the west, like other parts of the map away from Giants. Except for me, like I built this town late in the game here, but I think at that point the leech wasn't very useful for him. So like Giants got a lot of early game leech, but then it really dried up for them after that. And so that also really hurts Giants here. And yeah, looking back on the auction, I think the auction was pretty reasonable. I think maybe everyone should have been a bit lower relative to Giants. I think things were a bit tricky for Giants here. I do think my Nomad's evaluation was pretty good in hindsight. Maybe could have had Dwarves a tick or two lower, but I also know that if I was playing Dwarves and someone else playing Nomads, they could have opened Stronghold or Spaded G2 or something. They could have given Dwarves a harder time, which I don't think Dwarves would have had a good way to recover from this game. Like no Spade bonus, no Earth Spades. Like their expansion was a bit limited if they didn't get this territory here, I think. So Dwarves are maybe a higher risk but higher reward faction, whereas Nomads were always pretty consistent here, I think, as long as you shipped round 3 or round 4. And Halflings, I remember like liking my deal relative to Halflings, but Kesley like it almost justified it. Like it was really close to actually getting everything he wanted as Halflings here. So maybe that was reasonable. But I do think maybe everyone should have been a bit lower relative to Giants. I think Giants' ceiling was always a bit limited here. Um, I think that's kind of it here. Don't have a whole lot else to say right now about this game. Kind of cool. Like I did mention this is probably the game I was least invested in, which is fine. But I think because it was base map, I just played a lot of base map relative to other maps lately. But it is cool to see like such an ugly matchup. Like there's always just so much interesting dynamics when you have such a crazy color matchup like we do here with a double sandwich. Like for everybody, like not just the sandwich factions. Like the game becomes more dangerous for everybody else. So it just becomes like I think it's a game where securing territory is really important. And like thinking back on my game here, even though I didn't win, I think one of the best decisions I made was to start on D3 instead of G4. I think ultimately giving up G4 was not a big deal for me, and starting on D3 let me build really comfortably, like in the west part of the map, and like secure this territory. Uh, I do think there was I don't know how good the chance was, but there was definitely a chance I lost this territory to Giants or even Halflings if I didn't start on D3. And if Nomads lost this territory, then I think they're pretty cooked here. So I think like part of the nature of this kind of ugly color matchup is that you really do want to secure your territory or secure expansion really quickly. And so I think for me in hindsight, the starting placements were a right call for me. I think D3 was the best placement over G4 here. Even with no blue in the game. Like when there is no blue as nomads, I like to kind of look at other options and try to be a bit more creative. When there is blue, D3 is so natural. Like especially with mermaids, they're always around this part of the map, so there's no reason not to go D3 with mermaids in the game. But when there's no blue, you can do other things and have them pay off. But yeah, here I think D3 is the right call. Okay, I think not a whole lot else to talk about. I guess I forgot to do this for the other game, but I could look at the stats a little bit here. Let's I don't know, what should I look at? Economy, I guess. I mean, I could look at economy. I'm guessing everything's gonna be a bit lower for Giants, and that's kind of reflective of a lower ceiling. Like if you have a lower economy, a lot of the time it is, I should say. So in terms of coins, yeah, Giants had the least coins. Nomads and Halflings had the highest number of coins collected. Well, workers are pretty close. Maybe not reflective in workers. I actually had the fewest workers collected here. Um, Priests, yeah, Giants only had 5 priests, like by far the fewest priests collected. I guess Dwarves only had 8. Power, yeah, Giants, even though the Stronghold Priest is 4 power each round, it's definitely the lowest power. So you can see the leech difference here in the power collected. And where's power by structures? Yeah, so Nomads, Dwarves, and Halflings all had 35 to 40, whereas Giants had 20. So that's a big difference in leech. And then Giants had very little cult presence compared to us as well. So yeah, a lot less power from that. Really notice the effects there of the dynamics of this matchup. It was a low-scoring track, so everybody did pretty poorly on the track, which was expected. Again, Giants the lowest here, but favors they had the most to make up for it. I hit a lot on bonuses. I think that was key for Nomads here with a low-scoring track to hit bonus as well. Otherwise, in terms of total victory points, Halflings had the most, but they were a bit down the most, so that makes sense. Got the most leech as well. Yeah, Giants only 102 in game, but starting at 40, so uh, yeah, that kind of again what we see in the end. Okay, I never quite know what to look at with the stats here. I kind of look at try to find like interesting outliers, I guess, but there's often not really a whole lot to look at there. I feel like I used to be more interested in the stats than I am now. Now I kind of like know from playing the game what it feels like and what I'd expect to see in the stats, and usually it backs it up. Okay, anyways, I think let's move on. Let's go on to the other two games. Ooh, a chat. Okay, it's a Chi-Chi chat. Nothing too interesting. So these two games are still in progress. These last two, they're basically over. Um, well, this one is basically over. The Lakes one still has a little bit to go. But anyways, it's this is the revised base game here. I'm shapeshifters against fakirs, yetis, and witches. Oh yeah, I mentioned we're on revised base. We have extra endgame scoring in here, so this is distance scoring. So for this connected distance between structures, kind of hard to say for some reason. Um, but yeah, we're basically wrapped up. We're at round 6. I'm at 120. I'm about to pass, so let's just do that now. I got nothing else to do. And oh, Halai is online. Maybe he'll actually finish up here, so that'd be kind of cool to see him make his moves. Anyways, I'm gonna win this game. So getting a win under my belt here, which is always nice in this league against high level competition. I did end up getting 3 towns in the end. So last stream, I was really worried about not getting the third town. In particular, this town here, A8, A9, B4, and A10, I thought was going to get cut off. And it was. So Fakirs did take C4. I talked a lot about that happening last stream. If Fakirs were going to double dig C4 to connect. And I really wanted this like D6, C4, B4, A9 town. And so that kind of ruined that. But what I didn't realize was that witches had a ton of pressure on this northeast town, like where B5, A11 are. Like they definitely wanted the town somewhere here, but there was pressure not just from me. So once Fakirs take C4, it makes me want A10. And so I was pressuring that, but what I didn't realize was that Halai was pressuring A12. And so you can see that Yetis ended up getting A12. And Felipe, the reason why he didn't take A10 was because there was no town for him. Like he was going to take A10 and then Yetis would take A12, and it was just pointless. He wouldn't have gotten a town anyways. He always needed a sanctuary in the center here. He didn't have. I don't think he ever had the means to bridge to A7 or B3. I would just take those hexes anyways. I wouldn't have let him do that. And so I didn't realize that last stream, but that was kind of a saving grace for me in this game. Because Felipe recognized his town was cut off, he just abandoned it, did his work in other parts of the map, and because of that, I was able to get A10 and salvage this third town here, which was really important for me. I think I talked last stream about maybe being able to survive without the third town, but I do feel like I needed it in the end here. It was a 13-point town, basically. Or if it would have been the 11-point town, so a 16-point town. That's a lot of points. I didn't have a good way to make that up. Um, and so yeah, it was awkward. Like I had to hard dig A10. And I also had to spade A5 and I spaded A4 this round because I was worried about if I shifted that witches could dig a hex away from me and make things really ugly. And so it was a bit of like it definitely wasn't the shapeshifter's dream. Like as shapeshifters, you don't really want to be digging once you have your stronghold up. Like a dig or two is okay, but like you don't want to be relying on digging Like you really would rather use your workers for more structures, rather use your power for coins, or maybe a priest to fight cults or something like that. You don't really want to be using spades. Like the stronghold really helps you save spades by shifting. That's kind of the point of it. And so using spades just kind of goes against that. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I kind of did that here. Okay, sweet. We have Halai playing. Nice. We can kind of see this game wrap up. But yeah, I ended up with 3 towns, 15 structures. So again, I'm winning network here. Witches ended up with 14. Fakir's with 13 because Witches Halai dug B1. Um, okay, actually, let me stop talking. Let's just see things. Let's see what Halai's doing here. Um, okay, so you went Priest of Fire, Priest action, Ship advance, and pass. All right. Yeah, Halai was in the TP tile in the end, and he did a second town. He got Temple Water 1, and I'm gonna mute this because it's kind of annoying. But Temple Water 1 and just did a bunch of TPs. I somehow thought he might get a third town, like a really ugly town in the southwest here. Maybe he can never afford it. Maybe that was just me being unrealistic, but I somehow thought he might go for it. But yeah, that would have been really nice if he could have gotten that. But without that, I don't think he was ever in contention here, despite winning distance. Yeah, we can see it all count down, the Great Terra Mystica countdown. All right, and my score started to skyrocket here with a network win. I did really well in cults in the end, so 16 cult points here was quite good considering I didn't really invest too much into it. Like I put 4 priests to cults, but this last priest was kind of late and didn't really do anything. And I got 2 8-point towns from going in early fire 2 this round, which was super nice and let me just lock up fire and lock up second on these 2 cults. So kind of like an easy 16 cult points. I felt like it was an easy 16 cult points, which is super nice for me. Yeah, all right. End results coming in here. So thank you, Halai, to playing. That was a nice surprise here. Have the win wrap up on stream and get some elo back. Hey, nice. Okay, so what do we have? I'm in first with 163. Felipe in second with 150. Halai with 141 in third, and B-Ball Race in fourth with 134. So shapeshifters, witches, yetis, fakirs. All right. So I want to talk a bit more about this B1 dig because it was actually a really good move by Felipe, and I'm spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure this move is going to win him the league. This dig on B1. If he doesn't do that, Fakir, I'm pretty sure I beat Fakirs in a close battle for first. I think I have a few points on Fakirs. But Fakirs, I think, are second if they have B1 here. B-Ball Race did go for a range town with his last town in preparation to fly to B1. He had a dwelling on the board. He had the resources to build it. He was ready to go. But Felipe planned out his round. I think he planned this pretty early on in the round. He like rather than going for 15 structures, which I think he had the capacity to do, he just went for 14 instead. Went for 2 higher scoring towns, so he took 2 priest towns, got his ship up to 3, and just had an extra worker to dig B1. And yeah, that got him second. Like I'm pretty sure B-Ball Race gets second if he doesn't do that. And I think that's a really big swing for the league. So I think it's a really, really smart move on his part. And it makes me wonder if there was anything I could have done to prevent this. I was worried for myself about Witches potentially digging A4 away from me. I did have the means to take it though. Once I realized that Felipe wasn't getting 15 structures, it meant he was never going to build A4, like even if he did dig it. And so I could have A4 was blue. I think something I could have done, I think I could have shifted to blue. And then if Felipe digs A4, I still have the power to dig and build it. So I was on black here when A4 was blue, and so I just dug A4 to take the town. But if I had shifted to blue, oh no, but then Felipe could dig A4 to black, right? Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, never mind. That completely screws me. Okay, because I couldn't afford 2 shifts here. That was the key. I had the power for 1 shift, which I just wasted at the end of the game to shift to brown. Like it didn't matter. I just there's something satisfying about shapeshifters shifting back to their home color at the end of the game. Like I can't explain it, but it just is. Anyways, so I had 1 shift to play with. But yeah, if I shifted to blue, then Felipe digs A4 to black, and my third town is cooked. I didn't have a double dig in me, so I couldn't have double dug A4 or C2. I couldn't have shifted to gray for C2 or shifted back to black. I didn't have the means to do that. So maybe there wasn't anything I could have done. Because I have access to B1 here, but I don't have the resources to dig. Oh, could I have Oh, wait, maybe I could have. What if I had taken the 7 point town? So I had an extra priest. I sent a priest to air as my second last move before this useless shift. And that priest was meaningless. It didn't do anything for me. So maybe I could have taken a worker town instead of the 11 point town. Take a worker town, and then I have two workers plus the priest. I have three workers. I could dig B1 back to yellow. But then I don't know if B-ball race beats me, right? It's four less points for me, and he was pretty close to me. uh, it also like cost me distance points. Although it's only a swing versus B-ball race. I think I would like Felipe and I were tied with distance, so if he beats us both in distance, it swings it both for both of us. I don't know. I'm not going to do the calculation to wonder whether that was worth it or not. That's an incredibly like niche scenario. Like if that was a way to win, like that's a crazy way to win, and there was no way I was going to be able to find that right now. That would have been nuts. Because I did see this, like once I realized that Felipe wasn't digging A4 away from me, I did realize he was going to dig B1. So like maybe there was a window where I could have really looked into it, had that possibility, but I would have had to been extremely accurate with calculations there too. That would have been insane if I could have planned for that and undid Felipe's aggression here to let Fakirs come to B1. That would have been absurd. Because yeah, I mean, so in the league, Felipe has two wins already. He won the Dwarves game against me, and he also won the game I wasn't in. So I haven't been showing that, but he had a really nice Acolytes win on Fjords. And so he's got 12 points from those wins, and now he's got 3 points here from being in second. And I think he's in third in the last game, in the Lakes game, which I haven't gone to yet. But I think he's getting a third place from that. And spoiler alert, but I'm winning. I think I'm winning that Lakes game. I'm winning this game, which is 12 points for me. I got third or got second against Felipe with that Nomads game on base map. So that's 15 points for me, but I came in last with the other Nomads game. And so I'm pretty sure he has 16 and I have 15, and it's because of him coming in second place in this game with this dig. I think if he doesn't do that, he's in third here, maybe fourth even. He actually might just be in fourth. Huh. Yeah, I don't know, but I've got to give him kudos. Like that's a really really good move. Really like well thought out, smart. Because yeah, he did have an option of really forcing out 15 structures here, but I don't think he gets third with that. Like I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm still beating him, and I think in that case, B-ball race with this extra structure on B1, I think he beats him because he gets second on distance, and he also ties, or he gets third on network still, and he gets an extra flight, an extra 2 points from the dwelling. Like, yeah, I think he gets a lot still. So yeah, huh. But yeah, I got to give Felipe kudos for that move. And also for like, I'm sure he had dreams of three towns here, but I think he had to give up the three town dreams, and I think that's hard to do sometimes, especially as witches, especially with round six towns. Like that's such a high scoring third town to be able to get it. But he realized that this town wasn't happening in the Northeast, and rather than wasting resources to fight for it, um, I think rightfully just kind of gave it up. I guess he maybe could have justified. Well, taking A12 would have been distance points for him over me. And then taking A10 would have, like, I think limited me to two towns. So actually, maybe he could have justified still taking one of these hexes. But I also think his decision to let it go and focus attentions elsewhere, I mean, that certainly gave him the resources to disrupt on B1. Like, if he didn't do that, I feel like he probably wouldn't have the means to do this dig. So that kind of helps him for that. Um, yeah, I think a smart game from him. I do think this situation here kind of showed the risk, at least in I think both Witches and Fakir's game. So both of them like played really kind of they played the track really heavily. So this game I don't quite remember the first three rounds, but the fourth and fifth rounds were both dwelling scoring rounds, and round six was of course towns. And so like a lot of it was really natural to try to delay your expansion until round four and then really go off building dwellings in round four and five and then finish off towns in round six. But like the downside of that is tempo on territory can be really slow. Um, and yeah, you see that play off. Like I think if Felipe had maybe gone more expansive early and just not worried so much about the track, he might have been able to get his third town here with A10 and A12. He could have afforded it, but the problem was he was like he couldn't advance digs until round five. Like he kept passing early for coins actions without a lot of structures on the board, and so he had a lot to do in round five. And by that point, a lot of us had already kind of like had the means to be building over here. Like I had a big round four, I had stuff to do here. Yetis were pretty slow going too, but Halai did have shipping up and he did have digging up and was ready to take A12 at this point. And so I do wonder like um, if witches maybe should have gone more expansive earlier and just sacrificed some track points to secure a third town. Not to mention a better distance score. Like maybe Felipe gets not just a town here, but also gets A12 and A13, and like that could be valuable for distance. Like especially with extra endgame scoring, I think it's often important to not overplay the track and to just play economically and just play for this. Because again, it leads to more town, like it can lead to more towns, like more scoring in the late game in addition to endgame scoring. Like I think it often pays off. And so for that, yeah, for witches, I think you see it with the lack of a third town. For fakirs, I think you see it with this B1 dig. It's tough because like B-Ball Race, he went Sanctuary round three after going Double Temple round two, and then built a ton of dwellings round four, like which was super good for the track. But the downside was like being really slow to getting his range extended, which was kind of natural this game with round six towns. Like I talked a big game in the auction about going Stronghold some point as Fakiris, but that's such an uncomfortable path to do as well. Like maybe it was always best to delay the range town until round six and then try to get territory, but like I think there's also justification to a different game plan, whereas Fakiris you go for two towns. And maybe you go for an earlier range town and then hit a second town and a higher scoring town round six. And with this earlier range town, you secure your distance. So you get like here he not only lost B1 but also lost H1 to Yetis. So maybe with range you get both those. Um, and then not only do you like do better on distance, but you could just outright win distance scoring and maybe get 15 structures even. Like so Fakir's here, we're going to get 14 before this disruption, but I wonder if they went like if they didn't go Sanctuary round three and built dwellings instead and went like full econ, could they have gotten 15 structures? Like maybe not. It's Fakir's. It's not clear. Yeah, it's really hard to say. But they might have. Yeah, they also may have gone. They may have beaten Yetis to C4 or to G4 as well too, which means they would then need to dig C4 and C5. Like that saves them a lot of resources. Um, I mean, they also maybe could have justified not digging D4. That would have been really good for me and might have got me four towns here, which I really wanted. But like Fakirs use a lot of digs on hexes that weren't parts of towns and lost a lot of natural yellows instead and only got one town. And so like I wonder I'm picturing a Fakir's game where they don't have these three digs, but in contrast they have maybe two, maybe they have like G4 and H1 and some kind of town around the sanctuary here. It's awkward though, because you have to triple dig E4 or like double dig and bridge C2. Or maybe they get a town in the west here with E2 and another hex, but then like that's too many structures. I don't quite know. Maybe I guess they could have also gone Sanctuary in the east here, but then they lose out on some Leech in the center. And did they have a neighbor here? Yeah, they had Yetis on F6. Maybe he should have gone Sanctuary F7. I don't know, or maybe this is the right game plan and Fakir's got unlucky. It's not totally clear to me, but I do wonder if like I guess you could say a less points greedy, like a less track greedy game plan might have paid off better. It would be really this would actually be a really interesting game to replay. I don't think it'll happen, but there's a lot of like permutations, a lot of different things that could happen that could swing the game here. For myself, I'm really curious about opening Stronghold. Like I didn't really want to do it in the auction because we had a round three big building event, and I thought the Stronghold there was so natural, and I wanted priest production, so I went Temple. But the downside of that was I lost the center town here with Fakirs taking D4. And while Fakirs didn't have to take D4, like it did make sense for them to do it. But if I went Stronghold, I could have shifted to red round one and taken D4, and I think F3 was more available. Like There's not a great reason for Vicurious to want to double dig F3, I don't think. I mean, I guess it connects them to E8 on range and gets them to I7 on extended range too. Like maybe I still lose this, but then I could shift to C2 and do this bridge town here. Like C2 was not as threatened as G1 this game, so like maybe there's justification for me for opening Stronghold. Um, Either getting 4 towns, which would have been incredible, or just 3 towns, but like have an extra structure out and do better on distance. Like I really thought I was going to do really well at distance this game, but like in the end, I didn't. Like I was lucky to tie on second for distance with this disruption here. So maybe opening Stronghold was a better play, but like it's not. It is painful not having that priest production. Like I guess I go Temple round 2 and maybe Sanctuary round 3. Like for Temple for Fire 1, Sanctuary Earth 1. Like maybe it's not clear. Um, But yeah, that was one thing. Another thing I could have done was an earlier town. I thought I was going to do an early 2 key town in round 3, but Yetis beat me to it. And once they beat me to it, like I didn't think it was worth it. Maybe a coin town would have helped. Like I could have, I did. There were points in the game where I was pretty coin tight. Like even though I got 15 structures, got 3 ship advances, got 3 towns in the end, and won pretty handily. I still think like extra coins would have been really helpful, and maybe it gets me another structure out, which although I don't need it for network, like helps me for distance. So maybe like sacrificing a town late would have been worth it for them just for the extra coins. I also miss out on a higher scoring town, so I don't totally know if that's worth it. Although maybe it gets me another trading post and dwelling here in round 5 because I did have I was on the TP tile and had an extra TP on the board. Um, Maybe I could have afforded TP and dwelling. And it was a dwelling round, so that would have been more track points too. I don't know. Yeah, not totally clear, but like this seemed really clean to me. Like being able to, I got 2 towns set up for round 6 and could immediately go fire 2 for the cult towns, like get really good cult position, and still get a third high scoring town. So like that just felt like really comfortable. Um, the coin town wouldn't have helped me secure territory here. I don't think. Oh, mate, could it have helped me secure C4? Like if it would have helped me secure C4, it might have been worth it. Because then I wouldn't have had to dig A10. I could have done more efficient stuff, and that might have helped me get another structure out here. Huh, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. But regardless, I think I feel like in hindsight I had the best deal in the auction as shapeshifters here. Looking at the auction evaluations, I was at 30, witches were down at 19, Yeti's at 24, and Bakir's at 40. And I think even though there were only 2 scoring bonuses in play, I was really worried about that as shapeshifters. I do think there were enough, like the mid to late game track was really high scoring, which is super nice. Extra end game scoring just gives a lot of scoring options. Like even if I'm not scoring a ton with distance scoring, like it means that other players are sacrificing things to get that. Or because I'm just building more in general, I may have means to do it like late in the game when it doesn't look like I should. So like it gives you more avenues to score, and I think for shapeshifters that's generally really good. And so I think with that in mind, I got the best deal in the auction, and I think again, I talked about this a lot early, but a big key in the game was getting on the big building pass scroll in round 3 and getting both big buildings up. Like once I did that, that solved a lot of potential scoring problems I have. Like just scoring 8 points in the bonuses with that, like really helped me out. Um, and so I think that really helped me weather some of the storms that I faced in this game, like losing the center town, having to fight for this northeastern town here, not doing super well in distance. I think a lot of that was like I was able to kind of still have a really good game despite some of those struggles because of that big building scroll in round 3. The 8 points from that and the 2 workers are super useful too. Like early in the game, like that just it's like early slash mid game, like those workers are super valuable. So I think that was really big for me getting on that scroll. And I think again, I think it was a scroll that every other faction wanted in this game, and so I think being able to take it away from other factions at that point in the game was also really critical. So I think that combined with my auction deal, I think meant I was going to have a really good game here. Regardless, although again, I guess if I don't get this third town, if I'm limited to 2 towns, although I guess I do better on distance, I don't know. Um, but yeah, I had a good game. I mentioned this was a game I wanted to win, and so I'm glad I could have won this one. Like it's a really fun matchup, kind of a wild matchup, like lots of stuff going on here, lots of aggression. It was a much like harder fought matchup than I thought it might be with these factions. Like Yetis and Fakirs are not really known as disruptive factions. Like they're both, if anything, more fragile factions that really need to make sure they have their own economy rolling. Um, and yeah, witches don't always advance dig, but in this case, witches had dig advance and could be more disruptive. So yeah, we saw that all play out. Yeah, it ends up being a pretty wild game. Like, look at this board. Like, it's just witches with a town in the west here, but no town in the east. Uh, all this building in the east continent here. Like, Yetis somehow escaped this and got connected and got distance still, which is pretty cool. But they were at serious risk of getting completely cut off here, which would have been like a death sentence for Yetis, I think, here. Fakir starting on F7, which was super cool, and I think a pretty good move from B-Ball Race. I like that a lot. It got him this really good town space here. It got him lots of leech from Yetis building around. Good expansion to B6 as well, and he did lose G4, which did really hurt. It made him fight for connection through the north here, but like I like the idea of the F7 start. Yeah, just a funky game. And then shapeshifters are always a bit messy. Like just being able to shift to different colors, build in different hexes, like it makes the game not a dogfight, but like I feel like everyone has to be a bit more careful with variable factions in, especially Riverwalkers, but even shapeshifters too, because they have so much flexibility with what they can do. But yeah, super fun faction to play as well. Like I had a great time playing this game. Mine was blown at a couple of points with looking at different options. Shapeshifters and turn base are just a lot, but they're a lot of fun too. So yeah, good to get the win in this one. Let's move on here. As usual, taking a bit longer than I would like. Let's try to get through this fourth game relatively quickly before Halai starts his stream here, so people watching the stream can kind of move on there comfortably. Okay, so last game here, we're on lakes. We again have extra endgame scoring. This time we have edge scoring in play. I'm Chaos Magician. I'm Chaos Magicians, and I have fully passed out of round six. I'm all done. I'm sitting at a nice comfy 140 points here. So yeah, looks really good for me. We've got Felipe on Darklings, Keslu on Orin, and Halai on Cultists. And we also have landscapes in this game, so quickly we'll mention that. But yeah, I'm on track to win this game as well. I actually, it's so weird. Like this game, I feel like it feels. I don't know. I don't. I almost don't know how I scored this many points this game. Like, I mean, the big thing was again the auction. I started at 40 points here. I got a really good deal in the auction. Like, no color neighbor chaos at 40 points. I think, especially in hindsight, that's a steal. Like looking at how things have played out here. Like, there's no question I had a good deal in auction. So that's super nice. But like, I'll have to look at the stats. I honestly don't. I still don't really know how I scored as many as I did this game. Like I got two towns, two high scoring towns. I hit the track pretty well, I think, but not like super well. I didn't crush scoring bonuses. I got Ship DP in round three, which was 6 points. I got the TP tile in round five, which was 4 points. And I think that was it, right? I did have Earth one, Air one, and I did get Water one. So I talked about that last stream of kind of being worried about losing Water one to Cultists. But in the end, Halai couldn't afford it. He had advanced digs, and he's going to build out a lot. Like he has a lot to do basically, and he needed this temple for Fire 2 for three towns, so I guess maybe it was kind of obvious in hindsight he never could afford Water 1, but I was still a bit worried about it. But I was able to get it really comfortably with a Sanctuary in round 5, and then also take Air 1 with that. Um, so yeah, I guess that all adds up. As Chaos Magicians, like when you get your scoring favors, you tend to score pretty well. And I guess I also got a lot of natural hexes, natural red hexes, which I think was predictable in this matchup. Again, no color neighbor as Chaos, like usually a red sit. And here, that definitely was the case. E5, A8, C7, G2, A3, D2, G1, and starting on C3. So like 8 natural reds. That's really good. I did get cut off on D9 and F9 here, so Cultist did beat me to this part of the map, and they also took I5 from me, but I realistically couldn't have. I don't think I had the structures to actually like build around here anyways. Or at least if I was going to build this part of the map, I wouldn't have built this second town here with on D2. Or around D2, so like it didn't really matter in the end. Yeah, I really won this game because of that frickin' Halai dig on C4 in round one, turning into a double dig for me. Made things uncomfortable, but in the end, it really didn't do that much. I got really efficiently was able to double dig it with cult digs in round two, while sending priest to cults, having them pay off later in the game for coins, and winning air cult, so getting like points with those priests. Like it was a really efficient way to kind of take back to overcome, I guess, the dig. And once I did that and got C4, got my shipping up, got my natural reds in round three, then I was kind of off and running from there. Like I think then the no color neighbor chaos experience kind of kicked in. And I think Lakes is this like I feel like I'm much higher as chaos on Lakes than other players are. Like I think it's actually really good for red if you get your hexes. Like with the center town, like once I have C3, C4, and like D4, I feel like you're pretty set as chaos with no color neighbor, right? Like you have like once you have this, you have lots of options. You have A3 and D2 as options, A8 and E5 via shipping. You can dig D7 and get to C7, or you can just ship around to C7. You have options here in the east with C8 and D9. You have options to town here in the west. Like I feel like once you have the center town, you're good, like with no color neighbor. And so I'm really curious to hear from the other players like why they were so low on chaos in the auction here. Maybe there was concern about Orange starting double center and taking C4 and really squeezing chaos. I don't know, then Cultists take D4. I felt like that was unrealistic. Like, yeah, I guess then chaos are in big trouble, but like at some point you gotta like evaluate the chances of these risks actually like I don't know, risk evaluation. Like, is this actually going to happen? Like I didn't think it would. And it didn't end up happening here. Like, cause yeah, otherwise, like the cult rewards were great. Chaos started with the priest. We're able to use the cult rewards really well. And even though I had Cultist and Ord in the game, and I'm not crushing cults in terms of endgame VP, like I'm still scoring, what is it, 18 cult points? In addition to, I think I'm tying for the win here in edge scoring. Yeah, I have 6 edge hexes. Cultists are going to get 6 once they're all said and done. Darklings are going to have 5. And I guess Orin being cut off really hurts them for edge. Like maybe that's a different dynamic if they can connect. But like I don't know. I just felt like Chaos are like quite robust here, more so than Chaos often are. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect setup for them, but I think it was good enough that with no color neighbor they could shine still. Um, yeah, okay, so quickly, one decision I had was taking Air 1 over Fire 2. Like I had some thoughts of going for a third town across the top here and like kind of taking A2 from Keslu. I did have tempo on it, but I didn't think I had the resources to do it in the end. I guess I maybe had an option where I didn't build on G2 and instead like save this dwelling for this town. Like maybe that could have worked. But I don't think it was really more valuable. Like Air 1 is good. Air 1's safer. Like at that point I was already in a good spot. Like I didn't see the reason to like kind of risk it there. Another thing I was considering was I was trying to find a way this round to get my stronghold up and get like a chaos portal for another structure. Like I think that extra structure would have been really nice for fighting network. Darklings are getting to 15 structures here. Cultists are getting to, I think 15. I'm pretty sure cultists have 2 TPs and two dwellings coming. I don't think they have this third dwelling coming here. So I think tying for network would have been super nice here, but I didn't. I think I could have just afforded it, but like I would have had to dig a hex somewhere before placing the stronghold like chaos portal combo. And the problem was, like, any hex I could dig could have been disrupted. Like, I could have dug a yellow here to red, and then go Stronghold and plop it down, but Darkness have 4 priests. Like, Felipe, I think, has a priest to spare. Yeah, because he has one more town, which will be a priest town, I think. So, yeah, he only needs one more dwelling for his third town. So, yeah, he would have the means to disrupt that, and I'm sure he would. And I could have dug B7, but Cultists also have advanced digging, so Halai I didn't calculate if he had the means to dig it away from me, but maybe he could have. And like, I guess maybe I was greedy. I wanted it to be an edge hex for extra edge scoring to get an extra 3 points from that. Maybe I could have justified digging B7 and going stronghold and plopping the chaos portal down there. Like maybe that would have worked. But it wasn't clear, and I knew I didn't need to risk it. Like I recognized that I was in a good enough position anyways. I'm getting third on network. I'm tying for the win on distance. I have eight. What did I say? 18 cult points. Like that's plenty. 140 in game. Like no one else has that much here, so it's more than enough. That being said, I do think I maybe like in round five last stream I was passing in round four, and so I made the decision to pass on the TP tile and do trading post in round five. Against the track, it was a big building round in round 5 and TPs in round 6. I think in hindsight, that Stronghold round 5 might have been the better move than then just saving TPs to round 6. Especially if I end up with 14 structures either way, which I think I with Stronghold, I think I'm 14 or maybe 15. I ended up being a bit worker tight in round 6 to do everything I wanted to do. As you can see, I passed with a bunch of resources in hand because I had nothing good to do with them. A temple wasn't very valuable for me here. Um, and yeah, I think I'm going to score like close to 180 in total here, but I actually think I maybe could have done better with going Stronghold round 5 instead of TPs. So I think that might have been a bit of a mistake for me, but I was in a good enough position that it didn't really matter in the end. And the TPs was certainly a fine path. Like it wasn't a detrimental choice necessarily, just maybe not optimal. It would have been cool though. It's so fun to get the Chaos Portal down as Chaos. I did really want to this game, and I even talked like early on, like I think in the auction or like in like round 1 or 2, about the idea of getting my Chaos Portal down here for the structure. So like a bit sad to not do it. Uh, oh well. Yeah, looking at so very quickly, I'm going to wrap it up shortly, but very quickly looking at other players' games. Darklings are Darklings on Lakes. Felipe's doing well with them. He did have a bit of a slower game here. I think, like, it's kind of funny. It felt like he was slow with production, but he's still getting 3 towns, 15 structures. Like, he's getting a lot still. I think for him getting D6 was super nice. Like, it lets him connect on one shipping. And so not needing those ship advances means he can sink more into structures. He has Earth 1 and Water 1. Spilled all of his TPs this round, but he like passed into this round in like I think the high 60s in points. Like he was way behind in scoring. So even with like a tie for network win, he doesn't quite have enough. And I think a big reason for that is also like a lack of edge structures. I felt like here with Darklings, like I was high in them in the auction because I thought they were going to win edge scoring, or had a very good shot at winning edge scoring. And in the end, he's only going to get 5 edge structures. Like before this round, he had 0 edge structures. And every structure this round he builds will be on the edge, but I have 6. Halai is getting 6, and so it's just not quite enough. That's a really big swing. I think if Darklings have one more edge structure here, like that really, they might be in contention. I don't quite know, but it would be I think it would be a lot closer at least. Um, Maybe that's a downside to Darklings building on C5 here, but at the same time, it was like a natural black and it was worker production for him, and he kind of needs every resource he can get. I don't know. Like normally you don't hesitate to build on a natural hex, but when there's extra endgame scoring in, it does change the equation a bit. So maybe I don't know. I'll have to ask him in the debrief, see if he has any thoughts about if he could have gotten more edge structures here. But I think like because Darklings were never doing well on cults here, I feel like they needed to do well on network and edge to be competitive, and yeah, he couldn't quite get that in the end. Although he's still gonna have a very good game. Like Darklings on lakes, like Darklings are so robust. Like Darklings on lakes are particularly robust. Like I think they always do well. So yeah, Felipe is a great player. Like he'll make it work no matter what. And yeah, he's still a good game here. But I actually think he's third. I think Hawaii, despite being so behind here, I think he's second. Um, like he doesn't have much, but he has enough to afford 2 more towns. I'm pretty sure. I'm confident he does. He's been playing like he does in round 6. And so even without calculating, I just trust like Kalai. He's a really good player. I trust how good he is. Like if he thinks he has enough for 3 towns, he probably does. And so he's gonna get 3 towns, but not only that, he's gonna tie for the win on network, tie for the win on edge scoring, and do really well on cult. So like he's crushing endgame scoring, but he's just so behind in game that I it's not enough to beat me. But I'm pretty sure he's in the mid 160s here. I think it's enough to beat Darklings. Um, I could be wrong, but like he's also on a pass scroll, so that's more points too. Yeah. Oops, I forgot to full screen. Let's do that now. But yeah, really cool cult this game. Like Halai with this expensive TP round 2, rushing Tuki town round 3, kind of beating me to this territory in round 4 and justifying it by getting a town here, combined with edge scoring. Like I think it was a really good strategy, a really good play for him. I think he made the right move without taking Water 1, although it was really good for me to get it. But I think for him, this plan was better. The one thing I question for his game is, well, I question this dig on C4. I have to ask him, but he built the landscape so early on D7. Like, could he not have built a dwelling there instead? Because, like, the thing with the landscape, with Cultist landscape, there's no prerequisites. So there's like, you can build it any time. And it only gives like endgame points for being tied on cults. There's no in-game benefit to the landscape other than just like not costing anything to build, other than like a spade. So I wonder, could he not have built a dwelling on D7 instead of the landscape and had like better production for that? If he did, that might have helped. He does have a lot of workers, but I don't know. I'm sure it would have been helpful in some form. Yeah, I'll have to ask him that in the debrief. I'll try to remember. I don't like remember the exact dynamics. Like maybe he couldn't afford the dwelling and just wanted the structure here to have tempo on these hexes. So like that could be a good reason to do it. But yeah, it's an interesting decision. Um, yeah, and I think this game also shows how robust cultists are in lakes. Like I thought it looked pretty ugly for them early on. Like I don't know. There's space. Like it just looks so awkward. They weren't getting cult steps. They weren't building around neighbors. Like Orin didn't get here until later on. So like it felt like cultists were in such a tough spot to me. But like man, Halai really made it work. Like he's such a good player. Like the two key town, getting cult position out of that, um, doing well in edge scoring, getting a lot of structures out. Like yeah, still a really good game for him. And then lastly, Orin. So for Keslu, like his death sentence was getting cut off. Like once Orin were cut off, I think they're always in trouble this game. If Orin connect, they might be in contention. Like he has a lot of structures here. He had a really good economy, and he was doing really well in edge scoring. Like if Orin had G7, H9, I4, I3, A2, A1, if they could have that and connect, like that would have been really nice for Orin. Like not to mention three towns. Keselu is still getting three towns, and he's on a pass scroll. Like he's still scoring a lot. He has Water 1, but like he just has nothing for edge scoring or network. So, and like not a great cult position here relative to Chaos and Cultist. So that's yeah, that's not going to be enough to compete ultimately. But like I think I was really low at Orin in the auction, like when I first did my auction stream here. And even though I was a bit higher on them, like once after looking at it a bit longer, I think I underestimated them a bit. Like I still think this was like a good, like quite a good Orin game. Maybe they were always getting cut off though. Like there was always a pretty high risk of them getting cut off with starting C2. And if they didn't start C2, it looked kind of awkward. Like then I think they were a bit slower expansion wise. Like maybe you start E7 or maybe B6 and take maybe B6 works okay. Like maybe you go G3 B6 and you don't even care about D6, like you take it if it's there. If not, you just play for edge and then connect through this part of the map. Huh, maybe that's not bad. I don't know. But I thought, like, I think I would have gone C2 as well as Orin. I think it made a lot of sense. Maybe, I do think maybe Keslu could have prioritized shipping earlier and connected earlier. It does hurt him though to like force connection. Like, there are sacrifices he would have to make with that. So I don't know. He also had an option, like, he didn't have to go Stronghold round two. I kind of thought there was an option where Orin could have ended round two with, like, I don't know, two TPs, seven dwellings, or Temple seven dwellings, or even like three TPs, four dwelling. I can't quite remember, but I thought there were other expansion options they could have done instead of Stronghold. And like Stronghold is good. Um, Orin did like they got some cult points. The Stronghold helped for that, but like they were always behind on cults relative to Chaos and Cultists here. Like I got early Priest to cults, and so did Halai, and Halai got Tuki Town. Like so, I think with that in mind, maybe the Stronghold was less useful for Orin. Although if they're getting cut off, the extra structure, like the massive economy, isn't as useful either. So I don't know. I think just getting cut off was made things tough for Orin in general. Um, yeah, okay. But again, I'm really happy to win this game. I really wanted to. I mentioned in the stream after this Halai dig on C4, the disruption dig away from me. I really wanted to kind of like to pull this game out, and so I think aside from the last couple rounds, which maybe I didn't play optimally, I think the rest of the game I played really well. Didn't panic with this dig. I think that was key. Just kind of, I let this hex sit until round three. I didn't even rush the hex, even though it was a really important hex for me. And I think wheeling it really paid off here. Like maybe I could have won without wheeling that hex with doing less efficient things to secure it, but I think being able to get the priest to air, the cult dig, getting on ship BP round three, and ending round three with two temples, four dwellings, like that, being able to still do that with that disruption dig, like was really nice here. I think let's wrap it up. Or maybe very quickly before wrapping it up, I wanted to look at the stats in the Shapeshifters game. I forgot to do that, so let's like very, very quickly do that. Okay, so we saw the starting auction price. Total coins collected. So Yetis had the most. I guess Yetis will have the most for a lot of things, right? Fakirs will have the least probably. That's kind of what we expect to see. Yeah, Yetis have the most coins and the most workers. And the most power. Oh my gosh, 114 power collected for Yetis. Yetis are nuts. What was Leech? So Leech was actually really even. Wow. Everyone is like right around the same power collected via structures. Like slightly less for me, but not enough to really be a substantial difference. Oh wow, I hit the track really hard this game. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I was the only one to get three towns round six. I built both big buildings in a round three, big building round. Built a bunch of dwellings in rounds four and five. Yeah. I think I underestimated how high scoring the track was. I was a bit worried about scoring for shapeshifters, but like I think I think I underestimated the potential for track scoring in this game. For shapeshifters in particular, because I had by far the most in the track, and I felt like other players like again like played those dwelling rounds super hard, whereas like maybe I played them a bit, but it felt like really natural for me to kind of build up to both big buildings round three and then expand out. I don't know. It didn't feel like I had to really make concessions to hit those dwelling rounds, whereas I think the other players did. Um, yeah. Anyways, the track was really nice for me. Favors. So yeah, Halai didn't have Earth one and just had some TPs with Water one late game, so not a ton of favor points for him. I didn't get Water one. Like I talked a big game about like wanting Water one and just never had the means to take it, but I never really needed it in the end. Like I got enough. The 42 track points really meant it wasn't that important. Like and 27 town points. So yeah, I think and no Water one was fine, and only 20 points from favors is a bit low for shapeshifters, but like in this game it worked out well. Bonuses for me, getting the big building tile and the TP tile around five, like just hitting two bonuses for big scores, like was key. I would have liked three, but like I think yeah, again the big building tile around three was clutch. But the round five TP tile also really helped. And then in contrast, Witches only had 2 points on bonuses. Fakir's only four. Yeti's 22. Wow, Halai hit bonuses really hard. But yeah, I think that's a big difference in the game, and I think really important when there's only one or two scoring bonuses is really playing for them and keeping them away from other players because these swings can be really important. Like especially the big building tile because it also gives great economy. Um, yeah, that's I think like the more bonus scrolls, the more scoring bonuses are in, the less important it is to play bonuses hard. The less that are in, the more important it is to really try to monopolize the scoring bonuses and keep them from other players. Oh wow, look at the town difference. Yeah, that's big too. 27 town points versus 8 and 4 for Yetis and Fakirs. That's a massive difference. Of course, network. I did well in cults, yeah. Fakirs score a lot of faction points, witches with only two towns, only 10. They all have their digs advanced. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't mention Fakirs got digs advanced, which is pretty cool. But yeah, all the other factions had digs fully advanced. But yeah, when all was said and done, I scored a lot of points. Um, only spent 11 on my ability because Felipe kept denying me the chance to use it. But I still like even with that was able to score a lot in game. So yeah, it worked out really well. Okay, that's it for me. I'm gonna wrap it up now. As usual, going longer than I wanted to. So again, we're gonna do one more stream where we get some players on and chat through the games, and it'll be nice to hear their perspectives. I'll try to be quiet for the most part in those streams, let them do most of the talking. You've all heard what I have to say, but you haven't heard them, so yeah, that'll be cool. I'm hoping that's going to happen on Sunday. Not confirmed yet, but that's kind of the goal. So stay tuned. Anyways, thanks for everyone that tuned in, and see you all later.